Oh, so Ken, you just said you were at your third World Cup.
Yeah.
So the one before was in Russia. Where was the one before that?
Brazil, Rio de Janeiro.
You're a well-traveled man.
Been fortunate. Yeah.
Has anybody done this circuit with you, like Brazil, Russia, and where was this last one?
No, in Qatar. So, a couple of the guys have been to two. So Ben Gallons has been to two. Corey's been to two. My brother went to two, which is pretty cool. But Vera went to the first one, Vera and Sean, which was a lot of fun. Yeah, and I don't know if you guys know the story behind it. And nice to see everybody, by the way, that's on. The story behind it is back in 2013 when I lost my parents to cancer in a couple months, and I know you're very familiar because of the timing and things, and me being in California. You know, when my son was born the day after my father passed away, it was just a kind of a world of events that, you know, in my opinion, I went from my darkest days of my life to my, you know, most you know, grateful, happy. Like I didn't even know how to manage it all. And Majeski encouraged me to turn my pain into a purpose. And so he said, you know, you've been wanting to go to the World Cup, and you've been wanting to do certain things, and you should create a competition, create your business around things you're passionate about, and get aggressive. And I did that. So we had a competition back in 2013 going to 2014, and raising productivity, raising sales, and then based on total revenue, we'd take people to the World Cup. And it was such an incredible experience. I'll tell you, when my brother was there, you know, he kind of put his arm around me. He's an older brother, but he's shorter than I am. And we were walking to the beach one day, and he's like, you know, I know the business you're in. I didn't realize you work with people like this, but, you know, mom and dad would be proud of you and what you've done. He's like, you should make this a thing. And so I have. Every 4 years. We're doing it.
That's cool. So every 4 years, you're going to keep doing this.
Yep.
Well, maybe one of these times I got to tag along when I actually care, Ken.
Well, it's going to be here next time, 2026.
Oh.
So it should be pretty easy. It's going to be out there at I think maybe SoFi Stadium or the Coliseum or something. I forget what stadium they're going to be at. So
I'll have no excuses. I have 4 years to start prepping and understanding the game.
Well, I'll send you a couple of tutorials. Don't worry.
Yeah, good. The only thing I need to understand is how fans can show up in an arena and the game can end in a tie and everybody walks away. That's the thing I need to understand. Once I get my mind wrapped around that, Ken, I think I'll get into soccer.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, it's a little different when you're at the World Cup. I mean, you got people from, like, we were on the train going from where we were staying to the different stadiums, and you had people from, you know, from Qatar, you had people from England, you had people from Germany, you had people from Korea, you had people from Saudi Arabia. I mean, all over the world, like 7-8 different languages on the train. And it was epic. It was just so cool to see the world come together for something. So
yeah, that's real neat. And I know US is playing Iran, and you know, Corey was just so pleasantly surprised how cordial and nice the Persian community was. Like, there was no hostility and like, oh, we're gonna get America. He said they were just so kind to him.
Yeah. I mean, they're taking pictures and we were all hanging out, we were chanting. I mean, it was awesome. It was awesome.
That's great. Well, to shift gears here a little bit, Ken, I mean, obviously, you know, you're a stud. You don't need much of an introduction, you know, to our group. Everybody, especially those on retail, we know you all too well. And, you know, last few years, you've really been on a tear. I mean, you're now knocking on the door of a promotion to senior. So I'm sure that's going to happen sometime in 2023 here, Mr. Lear. And if there's anything we can do to help, obviously we're available for you. And so, you know, I was asking you a couple things about what you're focused on and what are you really doing. And so let's just start with the whole one-on-ones. You're having a lot of one-on-ones, you said, with the people who are listening. So can you just kind of extrapolate that? What are you thinking there?
Yeah, so I just created some non-negotiables, and it was beginning of EDM, as well as that time in my organization, and I just kind of put out into the universe that I want to work with people that want to work with me. And there's certain non-negotiables that I have that I realize that I believe you have to do to build a good business in our business and to be able to run a strong office. And it had to do with things that I did when I kicked off the EDM business, going to the field and setting the pace on a new program. It's a non-negotiable. You have to learn the business as a leader from the field. And if in my eyes, if you're willing to do that, and there's some people in my organization and some people that I work with that weren't willing to do that. And it was hard, but I just kind of told them, hey, listen, just that no worries. You should go somewhere else for your coaching. You should go somewhere else for your guidance. I don't know how to help you if you're not willing to do the things I'm willing to do and I feel are required to run a good business. It was very interesting because some of them, over time turned around. I didn't judge them. It's everyone's at a different phase of their life, different phase of their career, and I was not a place of a judgment. But if they just weren't willing to do that one in particular and come through for their people, and there's like a few of them, right? Go to the field, learn the program, from the field point of view. I mean, I see a couple people on the call, today that I was, actually, I thought I just saw them. Yeah, DDI, there you are. I saw Coach and the guys in Northern Cal. But I remember going out there to see those guys, and they're like, hey, so I'm here to help you pick up the program and get on Sam's Clubs and things. And I said, hey, no, my goal of being here is I'm going to take you in the field and teach you the wireless business myself. I want to make sure that when I call you and I support you, that you know this business from what I taught you, not based on what one of my leaders taught you. And so I took out Coach one day. I mean, we went to a random Walmart the day before we launched Sam's Clubs. And then I went out or vice versa. I think I went to Daryl first or Coach second. I forget what it was, but I went out with both of the guys, on 2 separate days. And but I think what happened there, just in general, when working with the owners and even with people in my office, with building relationships outside of work and just the things that leaders have to do to build teams, it just really started to clear the way for me to work with people that I wanted to work with more, that were gonna respond, that were gonna follow up, they're gonna follow through in their action items. When I coach people, I see Len's on today. I've been working with Len's a little bit lately about some of the things in his office, and he'll know. I just say, hey, can you do me a favor? Can you just email me after our call today and what your takeaways are? Because I want to know if my communication is on, like if they're kind of getting what I think they should get out of the conversation. And then I want to hear, what are you willing to do? What are your action items? I'm not going to tell you what you need to do. It's okay. What did you take away from our call today? Can you do me a favor? Email me your action items, and I'm just going to document it and put it in a folder. And then I'm going to follow up in 2 weeks. And how can I help? Right? Because it's their business. It's their opportunity. And again, with a non-judgmental kind of way, which was hard for me when I was younger.
So if I'm hearing you right here, Ken, you're putting your time and energy into the people that are following through, right? Like it's one thing to it's not like you're telling everybody, here's what you have to do. No, you're asking them, okay, so what are you doing? What are your goals? What's your plan? And then you are expecting them to follow through. But for the people that just aren't following through, they're kind of off your radar.
Yeah, for the time being. Right. And again, it may be life, it may be distractions, it may be priorities or whatever. And I'm still loving on them. I'm still doing my best to be available. And hey, I'll answer the phone if they call me. But I'm not gonna go visit. I'm not gonna go out of my way. Right. I'm gonna support as much as I can and everything else. But I think I shifted from me being always available and always doing everything for people, saying, hey, listen, my time is incredibly valuable, respectfully, and I need to make sure I'm maximizing it. I got 2 boys at home and a wife that has the flu this week, so I'm doing double duty, right? That shit's going around. And so I can't be everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. I ask people to not be assholes. Do you know what an asshole is, Ken?
I can imagine. What's an ask hole?
An asshole is somebody that asks you for advice and then doesn't take it. Right. So if you're trying to coach somebody and they're asking you for advice, you give it to them and then they don't take it, you're being an asshole. So don't be that asshole.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
I'm
yeah,
stealing
so
that one.
you're putting your time and energy one-on-ones. Recurring, you have like weekly recurring one-on-ones, monthly. I mean, what are you doing?
Often every 2 weeks. I like to give time for people to actually do something with the information.
Yep.
A lot of my, core leaders and things I'm meeting with weekly because I think they need more attention. But and even daily, I'm meeting with my core guys. Besides the somewhat off days we have on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. But yeah, when it comes to the owners, every 2 weeks or so.
Yeah. Good. And the other big focus, and we talk about this a lot. We get in these calls, weekly, and we're talking about recruiting, right? And so in today's economy, you are the recruiter. I think everybody's buying into that listen, recruiting starts and ends with me. You are the recruiting machine. And of course, everybody in your business is an extension of, again, how you're promoting your business, your vision. So what are some of the details you can share with how you're recruiting and getting ready to recruit in 2023 here, Ken?
So, it's interesting. I've been on a lot of calls with people that are outside of our business and people that, are in the same game. I got a buddy of mine that owns a staffing agency around the corner. I just spent some time yesterday with his wife as a teacher at a local college, and I got brought in as a shark on the Shark Tank, which was kind of neat. But one thing that I've learned by working with people outside of our business is how important it is that you as the owner have a brand. And that you're branded and you're branded strong. Obviously, I see my buddy Sebastian on today, and you think about his brand that he's built outside of the Sidcore network, and not that I'm looking to build a similar brand, but I think it's got the kind of the same same strategy in a way, where I had a guy that that I interviewed and did his interview 2 days ago, I guess now. And he says to me, he goes, "You're Ken, right? The owner of 2313." I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Oh yeah, I see your stuff on TikTok all the time." And I was like, "Oh." He goes, "Yeah, I absolutely agree with how you look at business. I'm really looking forward to learning from you." And he from the interviews and everything else, he was by far the best recruit we've had in the last 2 weeks. And so I think to myself, and I'm not saying you got to go on TikTok and be a influencer or whatever else, but if when people start in your company, like, what is your brand? Like, what, as a CEO of the company, what is your brand? How do you show up to your business? Are you well polished? Are you well put together? Do you bring great content to your leaders meeting? Is it the same old fucking leaders meeting that we ran 27 times before? Like, where are you getting your information from? How are you learning yourself? Are you leveling up? What kind of group are you around? You know what I mean? All of that stuff plays into how you show up for your team. And I'll tell you, and a lot of my guys don't know this, but this year has been my best year ever in the business, ever. And I think to myself, I spend weekly about 6 to 7 hours, again, on calls and on just being a listener with people in other industries, and improving myself. But I take some of their content, I think of my own content, I'm constantly reading, I'm super aggressive about that. And I went through phases in my career about learning and everything else. But it's just very interesting that as I've been around people that think a lot bigger, and actually are doing a lot more than people in our business, to be honest, it's raised my game to even get bigger.
And so what are you doing to get into these new circles?
Well, I'll tell you, there's Clubhouse is a big one. There's other social media apps that you can jump on, through Instagram, you can get a hold of people. I'm literally every Saturday morning, I'm going to call, Barb Majeski's doing a lot of stuff on the side, and I think you guys know her. But I've been on multiple calls with Grant Cardone. I've been on multiple calls with people in the car industry that are, big time retailers, like big time influencers, and it's just, again, learning and talking. I was talking to them this past Saturday for about a half an hour. But I think the things that I'm doing, and listen, I did the YouTube channel. I brought some of these people onto the YouTube channel. And I did all that stuff just to, to try to provide more value. I figured in my mind 2 years ago, it came to me, I was like, our guys are getting information from somewhere. They might as well get it from us, right? Every leaders meeting we run, every meeting in general, and so I just start propping up my camera in my office now, and I got one of my guys that kind of does stuff and doing this YouTube channel. And it's just very interesting because the guys they start they start doing more and more with me, as opposed to going online and getting it from other people. So, and you're more than welcome to use anything that I have out there for your guys, of course. Did we lose Jamie?
Hey, sorry, Ken, did I freeze?
We lost you for a second there.
Okay. You guys were still on though? Everybody could hear Ken?
Yeah.
I hope so. Yeah. Okay. All right. Good. All right. Sorry, Ken. I didn't catch any of that last stuff, but I won't make you say it again. So Clubhouse, I heard that part, but this is how you're networking. And I suppose, one person leads to another person leads to another person. I mean, I've always heard like John Maxwell's go-to on networking. I mean, he's, one of the ultimate networkers, but he asks people, who do you know that you think I should know? And somehow that just feeds into this world of his where I feel like he's got everybody in his phone, so to speak, Similar
Yep.
things happening for you. You're coming across some very interesting people.
Absolutely. And Ed and I have been talking a lot about what he's doing too, because I think he's done similar things and he's gotten a lot of coaching outside of our business. And there's a lot of people that, I think one thing in our organization we take for granted is the amount of coaching and support we have. We don't pay for it, right, at all. And some of these people that I've been talking to literally charge people thousands of dollars an hour for their time. There's a guy, I don't know, Sebastian, if you know David Spizak or not, but do you know that name? So anyway, he, among others of, people I'm getting a chance to kind of mingle with, he charges something like $5,000 an hour for his guidance. He took a company from, and I don't want to misquote the numbers, but from what I remember, 10 million to 400 million and sold it, kind of thing. And so, these are some people that have done some pretty incredible things in business, and, just being around them, listening to them and getting time with them has been incredible.
Ken, to kind of piggyback on that, after 10 years of giving morning meetings almost every day of my life, if I give a morning meeting outside of our business, it's 10 grand for 20 minutes of my time. And I've done 6 of them, I think, so far this year. I'm like,
so crazy. Yeah. And that's the truth. People, and I'm starting to realize that, to your point, Sebastian, that people are willing to pay for that type of information, that type of speaker. And I haven't dabbled into doing that quite yet, but I'm sure that'll be something in the near future.
Yeah, I got to evaluate, I give my kids an allowance. Maybe I should start taking some of that back from them on some of the advice I give my children. We'll see. We'll see if they pay me back. Just messing around. So any other details on recruiting, Ken? Like, if you want to get nerdy with like where you're getting them or like kind of your strategy, because, we're in a recruiting war and, obviously there's lots of companies that are laying off. I mean, I saw an interview with Jeff Bezos the other day and he's saying, hey, listen, the future's looking a little bumpy this next year, so take some risk off the table. Is kind of how he puts it. It's like, so it sounds like a lot of these big companies are planning on shrinking a little bit. So, what are you prepping for specifically to maximize on really growing and fueling your business next year?
So listen, this is kind of how I've done it. I have in my office now 1, 2, 3, and again, not everyone can afford to do this, but I have 3 basically recruiters that can recruit just like me. that are full-time first, second, third interviewers, and can do everything. And then I have 4 or 5 leaders that I feel like I can trust with most candidates. So you know, I would share if I was in a position that to afford that, right, to have that kind of team of people behind the scenes. I've also outsourced some of my callers to other countries. So I have people in other countries. So I have multiple people calling now that are cheaper labor. And so I'm kind of combining that together, and I did 104 second interviews last month, which has been awesome. But my strategy is I doubled down in the month of November financially on all the sites. So Indeed, I took my Indeed advertising from about $700 a week to $1,400 a week. I took my ZipRecruiter stuff and increased it an extra $300. I took on some, you know, Career Builder I hadn't been in for a while, but I've been dabbling into it. But I'm doubling down financially on the advertising piece, and then I finally have a team of people I think can handle it. And so that's why we're kind of moving things forward. The headcount has grown for sure, but the how much, yeah, I was a little disappointed with the amount of money was spent, but it's our first month of really having a high volume, in my opinion.
And as new people are coming into your business, like what are you telling your leaders? What are the main things that you want to make sure is buttoned up as new people are eyeballing your company?
So I ran this leaders meeting today. I want you to write down one word, and it's spelled awareness. Don't fucking say anything stupid to my new people. At team night on Monday night, a new leader says, "Oh yeah, don't worry, you'll roll donuts a couple days, but you'll do great," in front of a new guy, sharp fucking military guy and his wife. I said, "You're lucky I didn't fucking fire you in front of everybody." And I was like, "Listen, I'm not saying any names. I'm not picking on anybody. And I know you're new in leadership. You know who you are. Can we be more mature than that? Can we stop talking about the field? The reason why some of you guys are still doing the field is because you fucking talk about it too much. Talk about something people want to do, like travel. Like, hey, where are you from? What does your mom and dad do? Like, actually build real relationships." And so, yeah, so listen, that was my leaders meeting today, and I was just direct. But the awareness piece, I mean, some of these guys, and again, it's the button up top leaders, the awareness of 2 leaders, new guys, I mean, just the basics of the business, right? 2 new guys hanging out together, and we literally have like 8 new guys right now, which is pretty cool. But you know, the awareness piece has always been our Achilles heel in our office for whatever reason, and so that's something that I'm working to iron out big time.
I've heard this before. Your self-awareness is your gift to everybody around you. Right? Like if you know what's going on, you're self-aware, everybody's life levels up because you have the courage to take a good look in the mirror, type of thing.
Yeah.
All right, you guys, we got a few minutes left. Any questions for Ken before he leaves?
You look back at 2023, brother. How was it a win for you?
If I look back at 2023,
Yep. What does winning look like for you in 2023?
you know, it's one of the things I've taken pride in the last 2 years, which was very, I wouldn't say different, but I just took ownership of it more early now that I did previous years, was running a pace setting office. And personally making sure the guys that are doing the right things getting my support, my love and attention in my business. I mean, we're like this close to cracking the $1 million mark this year. So we'll see with our recent news we just got, if that could help bump us over. And I don't know if it's full disclosure quite yet on what's happening on retail, but we got some good news in the last 24 hours. That what I would say is a big one. And then the other one is just continue to work with the Adrian Petticords of the world, the Benny Gowans, my first gens that are really doing all the right things. I mean, we have 26 owners, I think, at the moment. We opened a couple offices this past month. And so I really think we can pop over 40. If we get the owners really doing a better job of running pace setting offices themselves. But just on a side note, I think I can do a much better job of being more present with my kiddos. And when I'm at work, I'm going hard at work, and when I'm at home, I'm being the goofy dad that I enjoy being.
Awesome. Well, Ken, we appreciate you carving out your time. I think as you turned your camera around, I saw it was kind of dark there, so I know it's getting later and lots of snow on the ground in Detroit. So again, thanks for hanging out with us here, and welcome back to America, my friend.
Appreciate it. Good to see you guys. We'll see you guys
Thanks,
soon.
brother.
All the best next year, Ken.
Yep. Thank you, guys.